Today we are going to talk about company-issued credit cards. More specifically, we're going to discuss a sample policy as it relates to using company-issued credit cards, and we're also going to discuss a sample agreement for wage deductions associated with the use of a company credit card. This is all information I found for free on the Texas Workforce Commission website. This is the third video in a series that I will be doing on sample employment policies. We're going to get right into it, but I do want to say that when you use these types of documents, be sure you have an accompanying policy that your employees are aware of and that you document that those employees have received those policies and that they understand them. There's a paragraph I'm going to read that is on the Texas Workforce Commission website, and it's something that employers should note prior to getting into the policy. Note, although it can be impractical or nearly impossible to not issue company credit cards to certain key employees, there is always some risk involved that a card user might abuse the card by using it for unauthorized purposes. This sample policy and form below are meant to illustrate how an employer might try to protect itself and allow for at least some possibility for recovery of improper charges on such cards. The main things to remember are that purchases of items or services for personal use can be considered loans or wage advances to the employee. Deductions for which may take an employee below the minimum wage under the FSLA, that losses due to unnecessary or negligent purchases of non-personal items or services may not result in deductions below minimum wage, and that both types of deductions need to be authorized by the employee in writing to be valid under the Texas payday law. So what that paragraph is telling you is that you need to remember there are certain key elements that you must have in your own document. Use this information as a guide to help your company create its own unique policy and employment document as it relates to issuing company credit cards to employees. Here's the sample policy as written on the Texas Workforce Commission website. The company will issue company credit cards to certain employees for use in their jobs. This policy sets out the acceptable and unacceptable uses of such credit cards. Use of company-issued credit cards is a privilege which the company may withdraw in the event of serious or repeated abuse. Any credit card the company issues to an employee must be used for business purposes only in conjunction with the employee's job duties. Employees with such credit cards shall not use them for any non-business, non-essential purpose, i.e., for any personal purchase or any other transaction that is not authorized or needed to carry out their duties. Employees must pay for personal purchases, i.e., transactions for the benefit of anyone or anything other than the company, with their own funds or personal credit card. The company will not regard expenses for one's own business-related use, such as lodging and meals while on company-approved business trips, as personal purchases, as long as such expenses are consistent with the company's travel and expense reimbursement policy. If an employee uses a company credit card for personal purchases in violation of this policy, the cost of such purchases will be considered an advance of future wages payable to that employee and will be recovered in full from the employee's next paycheck. Any balance remaining will be deducted in full from subsequent paychecks until the wage advance is fully repaid. Such deductions may take the employee's pay below minimum wage for the pay period in question. If any employee uses a company credit card for any other type of unauthorized transaction in violation of this policy, i.e., incurs financial liability on the company's part that is not within the scope of the employee's duties or the employee's authorization to make business-related purchases, the cost of such purchases or transaction will be the financial responsibility of that employee, and the employee will be expected to reimburse the company via deductions from pay until the unauthorized amount is fully repaid. Such deductions will be in the amount of the unauthorized purchase, but if a deduction of such amount would take the employee below minimum wage for the work week in question, the deductions will be in 2 or more equal increments that will not take the employee's pay below minimum wage for any work week involved. In addition to financial responsibility and liability for wage deductions, any purchases an employee makes with a company credit card in violation of this policy will result in disciplinary action up to and possibly including termination of employment, depending on the severity and repeat nature of the offense. And that section, again, this is the policy that should be in your employee handbook that the employee would receive, read, and acknowledge that they have received it and that they understand the policy. Now we're going to read a sample agreement for wage deduction associated with the improper use of a company credit card. I, insert employee's name, hereby certify that I understand and agree to abide by the company's policy regarding the use of company-issued credit cards, a copy of which I have received and which has been explained to me. I agree that if I make any personal purchases, i.e., transactions for the benefit of anyone or anything other than the company, in violation of that policy, the amount of such purchases is an advance of future wages payable to me, that the company may deduct that amount from my next paycheck, and that if there is a balance remaining after such deduction, the company may deduct the balance of the wage advance from my future paychecks until the amount is repaid in full. I further agree that if I make any non-personal transactions in violation of the policy in question, i.e., incur financial liability on the company's part that is not within the scope of my duties or my authorization to make business-related purchases, I am financially responsible for any such expenses and agree to reimburse the company via wage deductions for such amounts until the unauthorized amounts are fully repaid. Such deductions will be in the amount of the unauthorized purchase, but if such amount would take my pay below minimum wage for the work week in question, the deductions will be in 2 or more equal increments that will not take my pay below minimum wage for any work week involved. And then there is a line for the employee signature, there is a date, then there is a line for the employee to print their name. Then there is a line for the company representative and the date. As I've said in my previous videos, update these forms, put in your information. Always, always, always consult with a licensed employment attorney to make sure you are in compliance with any laws in the area where your business resides. And if you have any questions, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.